Imagine a world where you're arrested for a crime you haven't committed because a machine said you would. Sounds like science fiction, right? But what if we're already laying the groundwork? Today, police across the world use algorithms to forecast trouble, spotting patterns, predicting risk, building lists of potential offenders. It's just data, they say. Decision support, not destiny. But how long before suspicion alone is enough to change your life? How close are we really to the world of Minority Report, where innocence is just another prediction? Today, we follow the trail from today's algorithms to tomorrow's pre-crime. Are you ready to be judged for something you haven't done yet? We want to believe the law is fair, that justice is about proof, not probability. But for police departments stretched by budget cuts and rising expectations, algorithms promise something seductive. Unbiased, data-driven decisions. Efficiency. Safer streets with fewer officers. A way to predict, not just react. Proponents claim these tools allocate scarce resources where they're needed most and promise objectivity, free from human prejudice or fatigue. The sales pitch is simple. Let the numbers find the next threat before it finds you. But what actually goes into these numbers? These systems are fed historical crime data, arrest records, even social media activity. If past policing targeted certain neighborhoods or communities more harshly, the algorithm learns those patterns, encoding old biases into the logic of tomorrow's policing. A 2016 study found nearly half of America's largest police forces had tested or adopted predictive systems. And yet, for most users, officers, and citizens alike, the algorithm's workings are a black box. The code is corporate property, or so complex even its creators can't always explain it. That opacity means it's hard to question the system, let alone challenge it in court. But behind every forecast, there's a life that can be upended by a line of code. For Robert Williams, the system's verdict came as a knock at the door. Detroit police arrived at his home, arrested him in front of his wife and 2 young girls, and took him away for questioning. His crime? Looking like a blurry face in a security video picked out by a facial recognition algorithm. One of several innocent people misidentified in Detroit, including at least 3 black men. Williams spent nearly 30 hours in a holding cell, bewildered, missing work, his family left at home with no answers. The accusation was dropped, but the mugshot remained, along with the suspicion, something an algorithm can plant faster than it can ever erase. But the consequences can be even more extreme. In China, predictive policing is not just an experiment, it's an entire system. In Xinjiang, where the state's integrated joint operations platform, some IJOP, runs 24/7, algorithms sweep up personal data. Where you travel, who you text, what you search, even which doors you use to enter your building. Between 2016 and 2018, Chinese police used these tools to flag an estimated 2.5 million people for suspicious behavior, often for nothing more than using WhatsApp or filling up their gas tank too often. Some vanished into detention centers after arbitrary detentions, often with no explanation but an algorithm's hunch. The more data the system gathers, the more reasons it finds to question, to detain, to separate families without ever revealing its logic. Whether it's a mistaken arrest in Michigan or unexplained detention in Xinjiang, the pattern is the same. When suspicion is automated, human rights become probabilities. Williams' story is a warning. China's reality is a prophecy. The more we trust the math, the harder it is to see where maybe ends and guilty begins. But what if the day comes when there's no one left to question the code, only to obey it? Predictive policing doesn't arrive with a bang. It creeps in, one small decision at a time. No one stands up and says, "Let's automate suspicion." It starts with a sales pitch. This is just a tool, the human's still in charge. But the more sophisticated the algorithm, the more we trust its answers, especially when the numbers seem to know more than we do. It's subtle. But studies show that when a computer suggests a risk, most people defer, even if the evidence is thin. That's automation bias. The moment the machine speaks, it's hard for a human to disagree. And it's not just citizens who lose something. Police officers, once guided by training, instinct, and community trust, can become mere operators, following prompts, questioning their own judgment, and losing touch with the very people they serve. In Chicago, this wasn't just theory. The city's strategic subjects list officially existed to assess risk, not dictate action. But a Rand Corporation study found that officers regularly discussed high-risk individuals from the SSL during their briefings. At its peak, the list quietly flagged over 400,000 residents as potential risks, more than half of all black men under 30 in the city. Mission assignments, specialized units, and rapid response teams were steered by the algorithm's output, often without clear guidance on what those scores really meant. Internal documents revealed a gap between public statements and practice. While officials said the list was only an assessment tool, in reality, it guided enforcement actions, arrests, and where police were sent next. In the end, the algorithm's logic quietly rewrote the rules, without oversight, transparency, or much debate. Suddenly, the presumption of innocence erodes. Because once the machine's logic feels inevitable, it's only a matter of time before the human steps aside. The question then becomes, when will you be judged? Not for what you've done, but for what a machine says you might do. Imagine a future just years from now. Your name, your face, your relationships, your morning routine, every detail sliced, sorted, and scanned by systems hungry for patterns. A city where every street corner is watched, every movement mapped, every purchase, every message, every friend ranked and risk-weighted in real time. The crucial patterns of risk themselves defined by a fusion of state security directives and corporate efficiency models, all beyond public scrutiny. The promise was a world without crime, a society of perfect predictability and safety. The cost was constant, invisible judgment, no longer innocent until proven guilty. Now, you're guilty until the machine is satisfied. A job application is denied, a credit card flagged, a border closed, all because an invisible system decided your future might be dangerous. For some, it's house arrest, preventive detention. For others, it's denied access to loans, schools, or city services. And with every new system, the gap between science fiction and policy narrows. Now, you don't have to do anything wrong, you just have to fit the pattern. And the most chilling part, the machine never blinks, the machine never doubts, the machine never forgives. But what happens when the algorithm's verdict is no longer trusted? Across the world, cracks are showing in the logic of pre-crime. In Detroit, Robert Williams sued the city that wrongfully arrested him, forcing police to reevaluate how and if they use facial recognition at all. In Chicago, public outrage over the strategic subjects list led to its quiet shutdown. In New Orleans and Los Angeles, predictive policing programs were scrapped after community protests revealed how they amplified old biases instead of erasing them. In the UK, courts have begun to question whether black box algorithms can ever be squared with human rights, transparency, or fair trials. Even in China, whispers of resistance are emerging. Lawyers quietly challenging the detentions that begin with a spreadsheet, not a witness. Around the world, voices are calling for a new kind of justice, but the battle is far from over. For every city that retires a flawed system, another quietly launches a pilot. For every law passed, a new loophole opens. And for every activist demanding answers, a tech vendor promises the next upgrade, smarter, cleaner, bias-free. Some ask, can we build AI justice that is transparent, fair, and accountable? Or is the very idea of algorithmic justice a contradiction in terms? Can a society obsessed with prediction ever truly value the presumption of innocence? This is the crossroads. Will we remain citizens or become data points, living under the shadow of the next machine's guess? Pre-crime isn't a question for the future, it's a choice we're making now. The next headline could be about your city. The next case could be your neighbor, your friend, your child. Will we demand systems that are open, fair, and accountable, or trade liberty for the illusion of perfect safety? Can we build technology that serves justice rather than rewriting it in secret? Or will we wake up one day to find we live in a world where a silent prediction holds more weight than the truth? In the end, The question isn't what the algorithm will decide. It's what we will decide. What kind of justice do we want to live under? And who gets to decide when you're guilty?